amazing business. So tonight, just to give you a little bit more information, and just like Stacy said, making sure that you keep in mind that you want to watch that ABC Live It video tonight if you have not seen it yet. That's going to give you basically the big picture of where we are as a company and where we were back in 2005. A little bit of information about me, and I'll kind of give you more on that video too. As like Stacy said, I'm a registered dietitian, licensed nutritionist, and a wellness coach here in South Dakota. I had spent years and years working within a heart hospital, specialty hospital up here, and loved my job. Absolutely thought it was amazing. Loved being on TV and in all the media sources. And I laugh because back before that, I didn't want anybody to see me talk about anything. I was good just kind of hanging out in the back of the room. And if Stacy's probably laughing, and some of the rest of you that know, I'm kind of at a meeting, I'm usually I just sit in the backside, let everybody kind of go up to the front. But so I laughed that I ever did TV and media, and did a lot of public presentations over the years at the hospital. And it just ended up being something that I really, truly enjoyed. I also worked as an outpatient dietitian, working within the hospital where patients would make appointments with me, and we deal with their supplements and looking at other sorts of ways that we could modify things to be able to help them achieve their goals. And also working on weight loss, diabetes, metabolic syndrome, helping with meal planning, just all kinds of things. And what I found out is, you know what, we're lacking a lot of specialties. There's a lot of people out there that are very sick that don't necessarily have the resources available to them, whether that's, food-wise, supplement-wise, or just someone like me to be able to help them. And therefore, I kind of went from that cardiovascular nutrition aspect and built it up to have a wide variety of things, just because it was hard to not be able to help everyone. And so it made my knowledge base more broad. And there was always a common theme, and it was always, your environment and your genetics and those things working together, and determining some of your future. And I knew every day that I was there, because I also would work up in the hospital on the inpatient side where patients were sick and in for a procedure and would spend the night, that I wanted to not be the one in the bed, right? And I'm sure all the rest of you feel the same way. I wanted to be the one at the foot of the bed, talking to them about what ideas and what things they should work on. And that was just a really good job. And I got to speak in front of other healthcare professionals. I got to do presentations for the general public. But really loved it. And one of my favorite things about it was that Joanne Shear-Parkin, who maybe some of you, if you've heard some of the other Zooms that we've been doing lately, she also did a Zoom not so long ago. And she actually was the one who signed me up in Lifevantage, and I will be forever grateful to her. What's interesting is she was my boss at the hospital at the time. And I had worked with Joanne at the hospital. I think we worked together 11 or 10 years. And I had gone into the hospital looking for a job and was super excited that there was somebody there that thought differently, because I myself think outside of the box. I'm not thinking your traditional, a lot of times people think of dietitians in a food guide pyramid and a tear-off sheet, and they go, oh, hey, here you go, good luck. That's not me at all. And not that that's bad, but it's just not very progressive. And I'm always thinking outside the box. I was always looking for other options and different ways to utilize my skill and utilize my strengths, or the things that I really liked. Because what better than to have a job that you get to do what you love to do, right? And so I met with Joanne after she did a presentation about the glycemic index, and most of the people were like, what in the world is this? And in case some of you know, it's about quality carbohydrates, not choosing all the refined processed carbs and choosing the healthy carbs. And she got a little slack about it. And I was in the audience going, hey, wait a second, I need to know more about that. And what happened was that one day led to this really good relationship that lasted, still continues on today, of us working really hard to do all we can to utilize our strengths and really get people the information they need. One of the things is that we're very, very, like I said, progressive, which is great, but it also puts you out there where maybe not everybody agrees with you. And that's the way it's kind of been as we're looking at nutrition and wellness and food choices and all that, and people catch up as they go through. But we're really into research and science-based information and giving people the best that they can. So it only seems natural that we're really progressive in this Lifevantage business. And I've been in the business, like Stacey had mentioned, 6 years, which seems crazy to me when I think back that it's been that long. But it's been a crazy ride, when we've learned so much. And back then we only had a couple products, and now we have, they're more diversified, which is really nice. But you guys, when Joanne came to talk to me about this, and remember, this is a woman that I look up to, and she's my mentor, and she was like, I always told her, okay, you say the information. I'm just going to sit here like a big sponge and soak up all the stuff you're telling me. And I learned so much from her. And she prospected me for Lifevantage. And as an outpatient dietitian, as someone that was, very visible in the community, I was kind of a big target for network marketing companies, for people selling supplements, for people selling weight loss products, and everybody pitched their stuff to me all the time. So to say I was a bit of a skeptic, because when people would pitch that stuff to me, I would dig into it. I'd look it up, and I'd go to pubmed.gov. And in case some of you are not familiar, pubmed.gov, publicmedicine.gov. It's like this the government's database of all the high quality research studies that are out there. So, somebody would come in, they'd show me their stuff. I'd go, okay, yeah, okay, thanks. Go ahead and leave it here. Then I would go on pubmed.gov, type in their product, and see what came up. And guess what came up? Usually there are no results found. So I'm like, oh, they're saying all these great things, but there's no research to prove it. And so this happened to me over and over and over again, because it is very common for people to consume supplements where they do not have the research that they want. I mean, think of all of us. I mean, I took, before I was a dietitian, and even as a dietitian, some of the things that I've been taking, you don't think about all the research. You do it because you hear a little bit about it and you're talking more about it. And as I progressed in the field, then I was doing my research. But at the beginning, how many of you are taking a multivitamin or some types of supplements, and did you ask, hey, is there any research on this? Most of us don't, because we just don't even think about it, right? And so I had this happen over and over where people were prospecting me, and I just wasn't interested. Not to mention that I had 2 little kids, and I was busy. I worked at the heart hospital. I did a lot of community events, and I also we call it moonlighting when you have a second position or something. I was moonlighting at a gastroenterology office, helping people with allergies and food sensitivities and all of that. So to say that I didn't have any time is just an understatement. And so as Joanne was talking to me about it, I'm like, what in the world is she talking about? And she was so passionate. And it was not only her, but it was also another good friend of mine, Dr. Mark Gordon, who was a very well-respected cardiologist. And I looked up to him, and I knew that he was really into nutrition and wellness and prevention and doing what he could in that regard. And I thought, well, maybe this is something I need to look at. But like your typical person, and possibly you guys are the same, I just kind of pushed it to the side saying, okay, I'll wait, I'll look later, and not having any idea what we had our hands on. Finally, I went to a meeting, sat and listened, and they started talking about the things that I have been working with people with for the last 5 to 6 years, all about oxidative stress. And I went in the back, and I was sitting back like, okay, with my hands crossed, all kind of like, gosh, I've got so many things to do, to holy catfish, how do I get my hands on this? I want to know where it is, where I'm getting this, and I want to put this in my body forever. And so it's just such a crazy turnaround in such a short amount of time. But that's what we're talking about. And that's the power of that abcliveit.com video I was talking about before. It is an investigative report that was done after Dr. Joe McCord won the Elliott Cresson Medal and came together and put this information and put it together into a supplement that's basically 5 natural ingredients, and put them together in a pill that makes all 5 of those ingredients 1,800% more effective. So it's crazy. And you may watch it and you may say, well, you know what? I have turmeric. I've heard of that because a lot of people have. I've got milk thistle and turmeric. It's in my supplement that I have in my cupboard. So I don't really think I need the stuff that Nikki's talking about. But the difference, you guys, is you do. because what happens is when you take this Protandim, and this is just one of the products, remember, our NRF2 activator, when you take that, it activates your body's own survival mechanism, which is what you had going like crazy when you were under 20 years old. And then as we get older, we're kind of going around, and I look at it as we have this backpack that we have on our back, and we go all over, and we just keep picking things up along the way. So like Stacy was on his cell phone a couple minutes ago. He collected a few things from that and put it in his backpack, right? Or you're pumping gas, or you're whatever it is, or maybe you eat not as good, or maybe you exercise really hard, because when we exercise more, we also have more oxidative stress and more stuff to stick in our backpack. And what Protandim, our NRF2 activator, does is it helps you to set 40 to 70% of the stuff in your backpack down, so that your body can go, oh my gosh, you know what? Nikki's knees hurt, or she has allergies, or I should help her figure out her headaches, or whatever it is. And it makes it so our body's working for itself. And when our body is working to fix itself and heal itself, we win. And that's what I'm talking about, you guys. So it's critical that you look at this and take a peek and judge for yourself. And then go to PubMed.gov, like I told you. Hop on there. Type in Protandim in the search bar, Protandim, type it in there and see what happens. You will get all of our research studies. Back when I started, we had about 6 research studies about 6 years ago. That was enough for me, as somebody who believes heavily in research, to say, okay, this is something I need to look at more. I need to dig into this. I need to figure out what's going on. And it made up my mind to definitely be a customer and take this. And you have a chance to do the same thing. And then just for fun, remember I talked about oxidative stress? Clear that search bar out, type in oxidative stress and see what happens. Back 6 years ago, there was about 86,000 studies at that point. And just for fun, check it out and see how much it's changed over 6 years. And I think you guys will be crazy excited about how important it is to modify that level of oxidative stress. And that will make a point to you and understand that it's very important to lower oxidative stress, because as you type in like oxidative stress and, rheumatoid arthritis, or oxidative stress and skin cancer, or oxidative stress and migraines, or whatever it is that you care about, you're going to see that there's a connection, because what happens is that oxidative stress is the root cause of over 200 diseases. And when you can look back and see that, it will also make a point to you to see how that is. Now, you maybe heard me say, I wanted to be a customer, right? Or I was like, oh yeah, I went to this and I want to be a customer. Well, that's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to take it as a supplement and use it forever and always, because I totally got it, because I feel deep in my heart that that's what I need to do to be able to give me every chance that I can to be able to always be the person at the foot of the bed instead of in the bed, right? You heard me say that before. Now, am I going to know that for sure? Absolutely, positively? No, because I can't tell you that we treat or cure or prevent any diseases. But when I look at the research and I see what NRF2 activation does and what the potential is there, that's huge. I'm going to read you this thing here once. I have my other computer beside me so I can read it. If I don't read it, then I'll probably mess it up. But when they talk about NRF2 and the health effects of NRF2, 2 years ago, Washington State University published a paper. And in there, now this is completely unrelated to Lifevantage. This is just something they came up with about NRF2. They said that we may be on the verge of a new literature on health effects of NRF2, which may well become the most extraordinary therapeutic and most extraordinary breakthrough in the history of medicine. That is crazy. And I think, oh my gosh, I get to be first in this whole thing. I get to be one of the first people that even hears about it. And I get to offer this to so many. And when I look at that and that potential and that part that I get to be a part of is huge, because I don't know about you guys, but nobody from Facebook or Apple or Bluetooth or touch screens ever came in and said, hey, Nikki, you want to join us? If you give us a little bit of money, you can take part in this. I mean, nobody ever gets to do that, right? And this is my chance to be able to take part in it. And it's been a crazy ride. So remember I told you back in 2000, don't let me forget. I need to tell you why I'm a distributor, but I'll tell you that in a second. But remember back in 2005, I said that was that when that ABC investigative report aired, remember? And they did a big special on Dr. Joe McCord, who was a scientist who helped discover one of the enzymes that protandim increases, and he knows that that affects oxidative stress. And they also kind of gave us a run for our money because they said, hey, you know what? Your research shows that it lowers it by 40% in 30 days. Well, we're giving you 2 weeks. That's it, 2 weeks. And so John Quinones took the supplement, and he let him have 2 weeks, and he had his blood tested before and he had his blood tested after. And guess what? It was reduced by 45%. That is huge, you guys. So even past our 40% in our research studies, isn't that crazy cool? And needless to say, at the bottom, at the end, you know, when they say, thank you for joining us. For more information, go to abcnews.com. And everybody did. They all went there and thought, holy cow, what is this? I need to take this, because they talked about aging. They talked about progressive oxidative stress causing aging. And if we can manipulate this, we can potentially make some changes, right? That's what they were talking about on there. You'll see it. And everybody went and everybody wanted to order $5 million worth of orders overnight. And cute little Joe McCord and 6 or 7 other scientists in this lab going, uh-oh, everybody's calling. I don't want to answer the phone. You get it. I'm not getting it. I got it last time, kind of thing. And they were in a situation that they could not get orders out to the people that wanted it, because we weren't expecting that. We didn't have the infrastructure. We didn't have it set up in a system, you know, where you're putting out how many bottles of product. So we were kind of in a little pickle there for a little while. And then they got their ducks in a row and said, okay, we're ready. Let's do this. So they put it online, and guess what? Nobody's ordering. A few people, but hardly any. Because you guys know that word of mouth advertising is the absolute best form of advertising, correct? And that's what we're doing. That's what myself as a distributor, that's what I'm doing, is it's word of mouth advertising. And when people stop hearing about it, what happens? They forget, right? They don't even remember that it was going on. And that's a problem. And so they took this bottle and decided, I'm going to put it on the shelf. We're going to put it in CVS and Walgreens and these pharmacies and these big places that have a ton of pills all over the wall, and we're going to stick it up there and see what happens, because that's going to be the answer. So they did, but there's nobody there to tell the story. When you see it and it's kind of a boring bottle, it's not very pretty, you look over it and you're looking for your multivitamin, your vitamin C, and all the stuff you hear about, and when it says oxidative stress on the bottle, you have no idea what that is, correct? You don't know that that's your body rusting from the inside out. You don't know that that's a big, huge risk factor related to a ton of diseases. And remember, my specialty was cardiovascular disease. And you guys, the impact of oxidative stress on cardiovascular disease is so, so huge, which is one of the reasons that this totally caught my eye. And for days and years, I spent talking to people about how nutrition and diet could influence that oxidative stress level. And now this is just one other thing I can put in my basket to be able to share with people to help them. Now, so they weren't able to get this out on the market because nobody knew what it was. So people were not coming in and taking it off the shelves a ton. So they hired a consultant. Well, as a company, we weren't doing very well. We were struggling, and that's okay, right? Because we pull in a consultant and say, hey, what do we do about it? They said, you have an amazing investigative report that people just dream about. Use that to your advantage. This is a knee-to-knee business, or in this case, an eyeball-to-eyeball business. We're talking about it. We need to share this story, and you need to feel the passion and understand what this has the potential to do and its influence and the research behind us to show. And so they put it in network marketing. Network marketing went against retail a little to see what was good, which was better. And network marketing blew it out of the water, because this is where it's at, you guys. 6 years ago, not as much, but guess what? We've been in network marketing since 2009. It is 2017. And as you all know, businesses, the easier they can get it in front of people, the more direct selling or the direct to the consumer situation that they have, the better off businesses are, right? This is the new model of business and success, and we are right there in the top notch of it. And this has just been a perfect model for us to be able to use as a perfect vehicle to get this information out to people. We are a publicly traded company. That's very important to know, because you know, we can't sit here and blow smoke. This is actual information, and the people that shared this with you tonight, care about you a lot, whether it's that they want to have you as a business partner potentially, or they know that this could definitely help your health, or looking at prevention. And this is like the best thing we see out there for being able to lower that oxidative stress and getting that reduction. And they're hoping that you'll see, signs and changes in yourself, or understand, like I did, that I don't need to see anything on the outside. I wasn't trying it to see if it works. I had the research study, and you guys do too, that that it works. And you have that opportunity to order it just like I do. And so definitely paying attention to that, and let that person know what your thoughts are, what information you need. And they can share information on cost of products. We have a great product line set up. We have skincare, which is huge. We have weight loss. We have energy drink, or focus drink is the way I look at it, or a no calorie or very, very low calorie substitution as a drink. That we don't have enough things like that to drink that are safe and good for us. And as that's my professional opinion as a dietitian, I would run into that all the time. And our Axio is very low calorie to 0 calorie, and tastes amazing, and is such a good substitute for any of the other things that you could possibly be drinking. And we also have our Protandim, which helps with the NRF2 activation and our NRF1 activation. And so we have a great product line. We have a simple video that you can look at. And the thing to keep in mind, you guys, is this is cutting edge, and timing is huge. I came in needing to see the research. That's all I needed. I needed to see the research, and I needed to make sure that we were manufacturing our product in a way that I was comfortable with. We had good manufacturing practices. We were really strict on quality and quality assurance. That's what I needed. And I also needed to make sure there weren't any interactions and all of that with it, with medications and life situations and health conditions. And so I'm very, very pleased to say that all of that hit home for me, and I loved it. And so you heard me say before that I was kind of like, I'm just going to be a customer. I want to get this and give it to me right now, right? And as you all know, we don't walk around with it on our body or in our purse or on our person or in our car. That's one of the best parts about being a distributor, is I have no hands on any of it. If you say you want it, it drop ships and lands right on your front step when you tell the person that invited you to the meeting tonight, or if you're watching this as a recording. And that's beautiful, because I don't have to sort and organize and meet you at wherever to get you your product. You get it consistently when you want it. You tell me when. And if you want to be a customer, you're getting it at a wholesale price. And it's very, very economical when you look at the difference that it's making in our body. Your traditional multivitamin works on a 1-to-1 basis, where you have one good guy gets one bad guy, and that's it, and it's over. But my whole system, we talked about it. We have a lot of bad guys in here, right? And if we don't get ahead of that, it shows, and we start to get sick, and it causes that aging issue and all of that. When we look at Protandim and the NRF2, it is one good guy getting a ton of bad guys. And it just keeps going. And that's what we want. Those little kids that run around, they get hurt, and then all of a sudden they're better, and you're like, oh my gosh, that would take me so long to recover from, or they get a cut or something, right? And they're like, no, I'm fine. And they're out running and getting another one, right? But now when we're on our NRF2, I feel like my body, with its survival mechanisms and activating that pathway, it just helps me to do what I can to protect myself. And I'm really, really happy with it. But so back to the, I want to be a customer. And then somebody said, I think it was Mark Gordon, said, hey, Nikki, why don't you be a distributor? And I looked at him probably like he had 3 heads. I have no idea. But I thought, are you kidding me? I have so much going on. I can't possibly add anything else. And the key to that was, you guys, I had so much going on. And I didn't have a plan to not have as much going on. My plan was to be busting my rear and being on call crazy hours and, working all the time and having to sit and go through, calendars and who gets what day off at what job and this and that and the other and filling in and all that, which I'm sure all of you are familiar with. And I was missing out on kids' stuff and missing out on my own stuff and only getting so many days off a year, and the typical thing we all struggle with, right? And I didn't have any idea how I was going to change that. And I always had a little entrepreneurial spirit in me. I was always looking for something else. But every time I found something else, it took out so much of my time, because guess what? It was always a situation where it was me as one person trying to do all this stuff for so many people. And I'm putting a price on that. And it was really, really difficult. And now what's happened is I said, all right, I looked at it. I looked at the price. I got my product that I was going to be using anyway. There wasn't a lot of risk. And I thought, sure, whatever. I shrugged my shoulders, said, we'll see if it works, kind of, right? And I signed up. And I started talking to people and telling them about it. And I always kept it right here. It was always in my brain because people are telling you how they don't feel good or how they can't pay their bills or, man, I wish I just could sleep better. If I could just sleep better or something like that, right? And so I always kept it in the forefront of my brain. Was I a chicken sometimes? Absolutely. Did I miss opportunities? I sure did. Did I make a lot of mistakes? For sure. But did I lean on my upline and lean on my friends and learn every single day? Yes. And I don't have to do it by myself. And guess what? With this business, I look for other people that want to do it just like me. And I teach them to do it just like me. And that's just like the people that are behind me, right? That have signed me up and all of that. And that's just what we do. And you keep it simple. It's not crazy. It's not hard. The hardest part is maybe picking up the phone and going, hey, you know what? I got to tell you something. You know, that must sometimes is the hardest part. But we get better at it all the time. And it's such a good, warm, fuzzy feeling in my heart and my brain when people get better or they see what it is or they can stay home from work or they have extra money that they just wanted an extra $500 on their counter, right? Every month. And this is residual income, you guys. This isn't I work this many hours and I get this much money. It's residual. And it just keeps coming in. You know, we're going camping. And actually we just got back from a vacation with the kids. And the whole time I didn't do Lifevantage. I didn't do it at all. And I still made money because there's all kinds of people that are out there doing it. Just like when they're on vacation, I'm still working and I'm helping them make money. And it's just a whole different way to do life. And, you know, June 25th, 2014, I went to work and I punched the clock. I slid my card the last time. And I handed over my pager, and it was such a good feeling, you guys. You have no idea. And I took out my little box of stuff, and I walked out the door and said, see you later. And I haven't gone back to work since. And people it's 3 years ago, June 25th, it'll be this Sunday, 3 years. So crazy. And I was 38 years old. And I think I never got into this to get out of a job. And some people never want to get out of their job, and that's fine. But what it has happened is it's given me so much more freedom for me to pick where I put my money and where I put my time and what places I'm donating stuff to. And, you know, all that, it's just given me that freedom to have choices. And if that's something you want and that's something you're looking for, we got it. It's right here laying in front of you. And you might think, gosh, this is strange. Why am I being asked to watch this? But that's because it's a huge deal. And one thing I didn't get was timing. And so if you need to sit and think about it a little bit, go ahead. But think about it for today or tomorrow or the next day. Like, give yourself 1 to 2 days. Make a decision, because you'll kick yourself later and go, man, I wish I would have. I wish I would have. And that fear of missing out is huge, because it's going there with or without us. And I'm going with it because I'm not missing out. But thank you guys so much tonight for your time. Appreciate it. Appreciate you. I know you had a bunch of other things you could have been doing. This will be available too for recording for you to watch later. Any questions, please make sure and direct them to the person who invited you on the call, and just let them know what your thoughts are or where you are. And I'll throw this back to Stacy.
Thank you very much, Nikki.
You're welcome.
That was amazing. And I want to reiterate one thing. Nikki just did an amazing job. She has an amazing background. I have a background in finance. There is nothing special about, we just are looking for a certain person that wants to win and has a drive and a great work ethic. Mm-hmm. And that's the type of people that are winning in this business. We can lean on Nikki for her knowledge and grow this business. And she's there for us to help us grow. And that's the great thing about this business. Just wanted to make sure that everybody knows about the Zoom meetings tomorrow at 12:30 and 8 o'clock. I'm not sure who's going to be on there. If you are brand new on here and you want somebody else to hear, you have family or guests that want to hear, invite them on, and we're going to be doing these for the next few days. Mm-hmm. So just, again, reiterate what Nikki said, get back to the person who invited you to this Zoom and get your questions answered, and make sure that you do think about this long and hard. Thank you very much for getting on, and we're going to call this a wrap.
Thanks, you guys. Good night. Happy first day of summer.